All right, it is time for the August vegetable garden update. I'm going to start here with the tomatoes. As you can see, the tomatoes are all doing really well. The two pepper plants that I had on the end here pretty much got overcrowded by the tomatoes. I mean, one of them is still alive back there, but it hasn't been producing anything. We got the cherry tomatoes back here. We got 3 different plants. You can see some of them need to be picked. Yep, they're supposed to be yellow like that. Then we have a purple bumblebee one back here. There it is right there. A couple of the tomato plants have fallen over, like this one, getting too tall for the stakes, and that one fell over and snapped and is now dying, which I gotta get the tomatoes off of that before it's too late. But for the most part, most of the other ones, the beef steaks are doing really well. They're turning red. The Cherokee purples down this way are doing really well. I was having a slug issue with a lot of them, and some of them still have the markings from the slugs. Like that one's partially rotting right there, so I'm gonna have to just get rid of it. But I put the slug bait down in here, and they haven't been much of a problem since. Just the splitting from the inconsistent rain. But overall, happy with the tomatoes this year. And this is the lower squash patch. It is doing really well. Well, for the most part. I got a whole bunch of zucchini and summer squash from the plants that are in there. The summer squash plants are pretty much died off. The zucchini plants are slowing down, but I'm still getting a zucchini here and there. The acorn squashes and delicatas are scattered about and are still producing a little bit. I was able to keep the squash vine borers off of these plants for the most part, even though I did lose a pumpkin plant or two and a couple actual pumpkins and squashes from the squash vine borers boring into them. But the #1 producer out in this garden is definitely the butternut squashes. There are large butternut squashes all over the place, scattered about in this garden. A couple of them back there, one's scattered about all in here, but most of them are all along the patio here. A couple of them that need to be picked as well. And it's starting to look like that the surviving pumpkin plants are dying of powdery mildew, which I'm surprised the butternut squashes aren't. I mean, they have small signs of it growing on the leaves, but not really enough to affect the plants majorly. The cucumbers and watermelons that I had here got overtaken by the squashes and pretty much died out. We did have one cucumber plant that grew up on the fence here, produced like 1 cucumber, then died as well. But I think we still have a couple, yeah, there's still a couple pumpkins down here that I have to pick. We got one right there. We got one outside the fence there too. I don't know if you can see any other squashes out on the outside here. A new pumpkin growing. I don't know if that's gonna make it very far. But yeah, I've already gotten a couple butternut squashes off of these. Gonna wait for the rest of them to ripen up and then we'll pick all of them too. All right, and now with the top garden here, this is my cucumber watermelon bed. I have taken out a big chunk of the cucumbers up there, but in the last video it was just starting to bloom and cucumbers were just starting to grow. And I have gotten so many cucumbers from this patch, like I don't even know how to describe how many cucumbers I have. I have a 5-year supply of pickles made, and I have been giving away cucumbers left and right, but probably about 15-20 pounds worth every week. And the watermelons have not done quite as well. There's a couple little tiny ones in here, like here's one of them. They're about, I don't know, softball size. But that's probably because the first round of them didn't do very well, and I had to replant them later on, so I don't think they had time to grow. And then in this new patch up here, I just planted radishes, 3 rows worth. Just planted them today. I'm a little late in the year planting seeds, but I figured I might as well try. There's no harm if it doesn't end up working out, especially since the rabbits are probably just going to end up eating all of them, like they have a lot of the other crops. And now for the big garden. It's the same story over here, where all the summer and winter squashes were. This is all planted in radishes, lettuce, and 1 row of peas. I'm way too late for the peas. I probably won't get anything from that. But I have some hope for the lettuce and radishes, so long as the rabbits don't obliterate it. But unlike the bottom bed, this whole bed did not survive the squash vine borers. They pretty much all died except for some of the butternut squash plants, which this is the one surviving plant now. I have pulled the rest of them because they were all really small. But I did get a lot of zucchini and summer squash out of these beds and a couple acorn squashes. The butternut squash up here did not get very big. That's probably one of the biggest ones, but most of them are around this size. But the plants have died, so that's probably what led to that. My 3 eggplants, there, and there. There's one eggplant growing underneath right here, but otherwise they have been really slow to grow. The rabbits just kept them trimmed back way too long, and they just never were able to take off. The basil's still doing fine. Peppers, I had some kind of fungal infection that you guys saw in the last video. All the plants survived it, and I did end up harvesting a bunch of bell peppers off of these guys. Nothing big, but enough to add into some of my wild game dishes. And here is where I last had the sweet potatoes. I have tried again and again to keep the rabbits away from these and prevent them from eating them, but it has never worked out. So, I mean, there's a couple little plants growing in there still, but every time they grow a few leaves, the rabbits somehow get under this netting and inside the fence and just eat it all. And then the 1 row of beans that I had in the last video, again, eaten all by the rabbits. A couple volunteer tomato plants are doing really well, all cherry tomatoes. I've been harvesting a bunch off of that. One of the, let me get out of there so you can actually see what's going on. One of the lone surviving, that's either broccoli or cauliflower plants, I don't know which, but it looks like it bolted and has been eaten. Couple late zucchini plants that I planted that just never took off for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. Let's get into the potted. Oh, so the potatoes. The compost that I bought for these potato pots, this stuff here, I don't know, it's like rock hard. It gets wet and then it compacts all together. It really almost looks like black mulch that's only half decomposed that they ended up giving me. It did well over in the cucumber bed, but any root growers like these here just didn't do well. And plus, anytime a runner came out of the pots, the rabbits ate them. But I'll show you guys pictures of the potato harvest I got now. So I did get a little bit. I may have gotten back what I put into the ground seed potato wise in terms of weight. And here's a picture of what the compost that was in the buckets looked like. It was just hard, compact, and pretty much like rotten wood. So I definitely won't be planting any root vegetables like that in there again. But I did have 2 of these sweet potato pots in the back here that I planted in a different kind of compost that was leaf compost. And I'm actually probably going to try harvesting one of these to show you guys today, because it has been in around 90 days, so there should be something under there. I might leave the other one a little bit longer until it starts to get cooler. And then there's the couple pepper plants scattered about in here, 2 hot pepper plants. They're also in the pots. The potatoes that didn't come up. I tried planting more sweet potatoes here, same story, rabbits ate them all. And here are the okra flowers. These have done really, really well. Nothing has bothered these. They keep producing pods. I have to keep harvesting them. And I actually forgot how much I like okra. I really enjoy eating okra, so I'm definitely going to be growing more of these in the future. Got a couple wasps pollinating the flowers. There he is. So yeah, really happy with the okra this year. And that's that. So I'm just going to be waiting for all this stuff to grow up. And hopefully we actually get a harvest from that. And finally, we have the peach tree. The peaches are ripening now. As you can see down here, a bunch of them have been dropping. I mean, this thing was overloaded with peaches to the point that the branches were actually starting to snap off. I lost a couple branches, but I shook off a lot of the excess peaches, hence all the ones on the ground, and now a bunch of the ripe ones that have worm infestations are dropping off of them. But I don't care about the worms, so I just end up eating the ones with the worms once they drop onto the ground, and I've been picking them. I've been eating a lot of peaches every day since these started to ripen. But that's it for the August garden update. I may or may not do a September update, depending on if there's anything noteworthy to show you guys. But I mean, the only thing that I would really be showing you is the radishes and lettuce that grow in. But otherwise, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.